How do you calculate your Zidi money market fund interest rates? This video is in response to the many questions that I've been getting on how you can calculate your money market fund interest rates, especially on Zidi by Safaricom. But in order to give you a better understanding, I'll show you how you can calculate the interest rate not only on Zidi but on the other money market funds as well, because the approach is slightly different. So if you learn something, please leave a like or let me know in the comment section below. First, why is there a difference between the calculation for Zidi money market fund and the other money market funds? Zidi declares interest rates on the app that are net of all management fees and withholding tax, while almost all the other money market funds declare rates that are net of management fees, but the withholding tax, which is 15% of the interest and has not been deducted yet. So there is not yet a very clear explanation why Safaricom is doing the opposite from the rest, but in my thinking, they pay the 15% of the total funds as soon as they receive the returns from different fund managers who are involved and pass the interest to the client. Because I hope you remember that Safaricom or Zidi in this case is not the fund manager. They are more of a middle person. So straight to the calculation, and this time round I want us to start with how all the other money market funds in general calculate their interest, because once you understand that, it will be easier for you to get how Zidi do theirs. Well, if you remember some of your mathematics from primary school, then you do remember that the formula for interest rates is principal times rate times time. It is very important to remember that in the money market funds, the interest rate is calculated on a day-to-day basis and is reinvested each and every day, which results in the compound interest effect that we talk about. So the principal in this case is the day opening balance. So whatever you see in the balance today is what will be used to calculate your interest rate come tomorrow. And when it comes to the rate, there are usually two rates that you normally see, and that is the daily rate, which is the yesterday's rate, and then there is the annual rate or the annual effective rate as it is commonly referred to. So the rate used is the daily rate to calculate the return. And for those asking what does the annual effective rate mean, then that is usually the projected average of the entire year based on the daily rate that was provided. In short, this is simply the average of all the daily rates for the whole year. So let us come back to our calculation. So here we already have our today's balance, or whichever day that you want to do the calculation for, and then we have the daily interest rate declared by the company. The last thing that you're going to need is the time, and in this case, since we are using a rate that's denoted as per annum, whatever you see 10% is per annum, because this is where other people get it wrong. By the way, they think that what you see declared as daily interest rate should just be calculated as it is and give you if, say, for example, 10% of 1,000, they believe they should be getting 10% of 1,000, which is 100 bob every day. This is not a Ponzi scheme or a get-rich-quick scheme where money is manufactured miraculously. So if you see 10%, it means 10% per annum. Are we together till that point? Well, now, since this is a per annum rate and we want to get the specific daily return, then this is what we are going to do in the formula. So we are going to divide by the number of the days in the year to get a specific return for that particular day. So for purpose of illustration, our balance for the day is 10,000. And our company X declared 13% daily rate. So we multiply 10,000 times 13%, then divide it by 365 days. Of course, this year has 365 days in total, yes? That brings us to 3.56 shillings interest. And this one is now our gross interest from yesterday's results. So why did I call it gross? Because we have not taken away the withholding tax, which is 15% of the interest. Therefore, multiply 3.56 by 15%, and this will help us to find out the tax deducted, which in this case is 0.53 as tax. So your net interest will be 3.56 take away 0.53, and that is 3.03 shillings. So your net interest will be 3.56 take away 0.53, which is the tax, and that equals to 3.03 shillings. Remember, we have rounded off the many decimal places to bring it to two decimal places. But now, to me, this is a very lengthy calculation and it's a pretty complex things. Therefore, there is a way I simplify this, and this is how I do it. I take the principal, 10,000, I multiply it by the rate, 13%, and then I divide that by 365, then multiply this by 85%. And in this case, 85% is what you are left after taxman ashachukua the 15% yake as withholding tax. So by having this punch in my calculator, I will simply come to the net interest rate, which is 3.027. That's rounded off to 3.03, just like our formula brought us to. So great. If you're like me, then this second formula is easier and faster, and you already understand what each part of the formula means. And now coming to our Zidi money market fund calculation, as we had already pointed out, the interest rate they give or declare is already net of all withholding taxes. And now, if we go to our formula to calculate how much they return, then we are going to leave out one bit of the formula, which is the withholding tax part. Okay? Well, then let us assume that the same principal, 10,000, same interest, 13% for ease of calculation. So the formula is going to look like this: 10,000 times 13% divide by 365, and that is where our formula stops. And what you see is the interest rate for Zidi. Once again, remember that it is principal 10,000 times 13% and divide by 365 to get that day's particular interest. We're not going to multiply any factor to take away any tax. So the answer we get as net return is 3.56 shillings. And now, to verify that Zidi gave you the exact interest rate that they declared, please go to your application, that is the M-Pesa application, go to your Zidi account, and on the section where they show you the interest rate, write it down, your percentage, then look at the one that they show you, the net interest that they gave you, that portion over there. Also, write that down. Then go to the total balance and subtract that net interest that they have indicated, and then the balance you get ni ile ya jana. So if you already know the balance you had yesterday, use it as the principal, and following the formula that we've talked about, you will definitely come to the figure shown as the net interest on your app. Kama umelearn, let me know in the comment section below. Kama hujashika, please rewatch. I believe this has helped you understand how to calculate this, and you can try it out with any other company listed in our weekly reviews to get a picture of how much you are expected to get from the returns, and to emphasize that we are not focusing on the interest rate in our goal to build our savings or investments, but we are focusing on making the fund big. Just let the interest be a motivation to help you keep going as you start. The figures might seem very small, but keep growing it. The small will start making sense. Keep the main thing the main thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.